Hi, Tweet.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Can you hear me
D-
good?
yeah, I can hear you fine now. I guess there was a technical difficulty, but
Yeah.
thank you for making some time for us once again. We always are happy to support you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for always supporting me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we especially had to come running for an interview with you once we heard this news about Sugah potentially putting out an album because we've been supporting. We know your history with the Basement and all that, and we've heard
Yeah.
some of the songs. So what can you tell us about all that?
Well, we're definitely doing an EP.
Mm,
Me and Susie and Rolita, which is the girls in the group. We were discussing, and because we talk all the time, and we were discussing just doing an EP and maybe doing some type of uh, movie or whatever, just to explain what happened from our point of view. And
yeah.
then we out to DeVante, and he's all for it. So we're gonna,
Wow.
yeah, it's gonna happen.
So is it going to be like some of the original songs or new songs?
All of the original songs, because we feel like we owe it to ourselves, and to put those records out, and they're great records. So why
Right.
put them out? Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing. Let me also say it's amazing that DeVante is going to be involved because like here's someone who is a true legend and really doesn't get the shine he deserves because he's so low key with it. So I'm
right.
just happy he wants to be involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we couldn't do it without him. You know what I mean? Because he's the reason why we came together, and that's it. Just wouldn't be right without him, doing it without him. So
Right.
got to do it.
And you guys have kept in touch all these years or recently reconnected?
All these years,
Wow.
we had a little hiatus back a while ago, like maybe late early 2000s, maybe. But we've been connected since. We lost touch maybe about 3 or 4 years, but then we talk every day.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you think back to the Basement, we love to revisit the stories, and we've interviewed so many of the artists who were there and made it and made careers out of it. But like, what do you remember most about your experience there?
Well, I know it taught me a lot. Like we people would call it like a boot camp, and I didn't
Hmm.
understand then when I was in the basement, but it kind of created the need to perfect your craft without having the influence from so many things or so many people in the world. Because when we were in the basement, we couldn't listen to anybody. We couldn't watch videos.
Right.
So we had to really hone in on who we were, and just perfect our craft. So that's what I remember. I remember a lot of fun, a lot of drinking, a lot of, just, and we went on tour with Jodeci and Bad Boy. Like we had great times, you know.
Yeah,
hmm
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the like? It's hard for us to imagine. Like, I feel like there should have been a documentary about this long ago to share the greatness that was happening. But like, what was it even like day to day there? Being in that situation.
Constant music. It was
Yeah.
nothing we wouldn't do that was a musical. I mean, we would get in trouble if we weren't writing or singing
Mhm.
on something musical. We couldn't just be sitting around just chilling or not doing anything. So that's what the day-to-day life was. Just music,
Right.
all music.
So, and then can you just revisit how you even? I know you were in Rochester, and obviously the Basement was in Rochester. But how did you become aware of the Basement and then get into it?
Well, Jodeci came to Rochester to record their last album,
Right.
the show, the after party. I keep messing the name up, but that album, and DeVante brought all of his artists there. The Basement, not Swing Mob, but probably was a part of it. But DeVante needed to replace a member of Sugah, and so I auditioned, and that's when I found out about everybody, and I met Tim, Missy, Magoo, Playa, and every Genuine, and that's how I knew in Rochester. That's where I'm from. That's my hometown. Born and
Right.
raised.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's dope. What
hmm
was the audition process like? Were you up against other competition? Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was about three girls in there, I remember, and I sung a song, an original song or something. I can't remember. I don't think I did too good on the on the the audition because
Yeah.
I was just chilling. I didn't want to be in a group because I was already in a group. with I was in a rap group. So
Mm.
but I had the opportunity. I was like, let me go see what's going on, you know, because I heard they were in town, but I didn't know all of this was going on. And then when I
Right.
went to the studio and saw all of this music just everywhere in every room, it was just so much music and so much talent. I was like, I definitely got to be a part of this, you know?
That stuff. It's amazing. So much history right there.
Yeah.
And one last thing about the basement. In your opinion, I guess why do you think it didn't work out like you guys had planned?
I think it just drug on too long to where we would get deals, but the deals would either fall through or um, we didn't have that push from
Yeah.
the labels or whatever, you know what I mean? Or DeVante was scared, or I really don't know. But I know we had a whole lot of opportunities to make it happen with different labels, but it just didn't, you know, it just didn't work. So people got frustrated with the time wasted or the time spent with nothing happening, and people
Right.
started dwindling off and leaving. Yeah.
Gotcha. But
I,
regardless, you still made it happen.
yeah.
So proud to see you have turned that into a career and look where you are now.
Yeah, I'm grateful. You know,
Yeah.
I owe it, you know, to DeVante for, you know, just allowing me the space, you know, to be able to create with my girls and with all of the artists and stuff. So I'm grateful. Definitely.
Let's bring it back up to date. So you recently released a new single. I admit it. Talk about some of the new music you've been working on.
Well, I admit it is a song I had wrote maybe in 2007, 2008, and
Wow.
Charlie part of my we call ourselves the Lord's Chips, and that's Charlie Burrell, Nissan Stewart, Craig Brockman, and Jubu Smith. And we just have so many records that Charlie had the vocals for it, and he just redid a track for it. And it's not an official single; it's just something that I'm putting
Gotcha.
past the time until the single and the album comes out. But I just wanted to put something out there because it's been a while. Charlene came out in 2017, 18, 16.
16, right?
Yes,
16.
it's like 2020. So I wanted to just, you
Yeah.
know, release something that I thought was dope
Right.
and put it out there. Hmm.
So, like that song.
Thank you.
Um, did this whole pandemic then kind of put plans on hold for new music, or how's it changed the way you're looking at things right now?
No, it put a hold on like the shows, you know, the live shows. But as far as
Yeah.
you know, we can still put it out. It's just a matter of right now. I don't even know what to call it with the label that I'm supposedly signed to, but
Oh,
they're sending me somewhere else or something is I don't know, some mess. But I'm determined to put the album out.
yeah. Well, I hate to hear those industry politics, but I hope, something could work out for the best.
Right, right. I do too.
So, um, you know, talking about how you were originally part of a rap group and then you joined Sugah, how did you develop then into your own sound as a solo artist coming off of those two groups?
You know what? I never wanted to be a solo artist. I was always in groups. In high school, I was in a group called Greater Love with Miranda and Shelby, and we were in a gospel group, so we sung all over Rochester. And then later on in the year, Ricky Metro, one of my close friends in Rochester, well, he lives in Atlanta now, but he came up with this idea and it just clicked. So we became a group and I was just chilling. You know, I was working and being a mom and stuff like that. And then one of my friends, Billy, said they holding auditions, and I did that. But then in the midst of that, I got tired. You know, at certain points we would go home from recording once they left Rochester. You know, and I was sitting in the room and I wrote Motel on a guitar, and that's how
Mm,
it was like. Not for a solo act, but that's when my writing started, and that's where I started to create my sound or create something, you know, of the tweet thing or whatever, if you would call it that. Hmm. But
you've definitely have created a memorable sound. I'd say, like, from the Southern Hummingbird album,
Uh-huh.
Like your music has always been so soulful and soothing and peaceful. Like you have that vibe about your music, and I think that's one of the things we love the most about your music. And you bring that with every album, and it puts us into this zone and just it makes us feel at peace. I mean, at least for me. So
Oh,
is that like one of your goals when because I think you've been kind of known for that type of a vibe.
I mean, I didn't choose it. I think I was just,
Mm,
you know what I mean? I didn't choose it. It chose.
right.
Um, but I just found myself always gravitating to the soulful stuff, the stuff that means something, and that type of vibe. So I was always drawn to that. You know, I remember DeVante telling us one time, like, you're just going to be earthy. Nobody's going to, you're not going to be a hit artist or whatever. And then he went down the line for the three of us on what type of artist we would be. And he was
Wow.
right, soul artists, you know what I mean? But we all have soul. We are very talented in our own right. We are, Sugah.
That's dope. That's dope. One of your fans was asking though, your song "Make Your Move," like it's a more up-tempo vibe. I was mentioning your some music's been more soulful and soothing. That's more of an up-tempo direction. Would you ever go more in that direction over the course of a full album?
Up tempo stuff. That just happens on a whim. Like I said, I'm always doing something mid tempo or slow or whatever. I'm never like choosing, let's do an up tempo record, because I think those are more difficult for me to write unless they just come now. Like even Oops or Call Me. Call Me was the last record I did for Southern Hummingbird because Missy said we need another up tempo, to
Yeah.
kind of with everything. And she sent over the first verse and then I finished the record. If I'm led to do it, I'll do it, but it's not something I sit down and say, let's do an up tempo. I'm cool with whatever happens or whatever I'm led to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that vibe, I feel like you're known for smoking cigarettes. That song has become kind of a fan favorite. And I know that I believe I read there was a video for that song. I don't think we've ever seen it though. Is that something you would ever release from the vault?
You know what? I only have snippets of it, but we did, in
Yeah.
fact, go. We went to Canada and shot a Little X shot the video, and we had Boogie Tonight, a snippet of Boogie Tonight in the beginning, and then it went to Smoking Cigarettes, and it just never came out because they went with Call Me as the second single because Smoking Cigarettes was supposed to be the second single, and I
Mm,
fought that because I said we have Verizon. Verizon commercial was Call Me, so that's already out there. Let's do something that has something to do with the rest of the record. The rest of the record was soulful, and I didn't want to be known as a hip hop artist and then people buy the record and like, oh my God, this ain't no hip hop record. It's very soulful. So I wanted to do that, but they X'd it. Don't,
oh man.
yeah, the whole program. I mean, we had the Truth commercial people involved and everything. We had all of their commercial intertwined with the video, so it was going to be really good. But I just don't understand why they never went with it. I guess Call Me was more like Oops, you know.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about smoking cigarettes, it lives on to be a fan favorite from what we've seen to this day.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
another fan favorite I've seen that I wish there was a video for was Cab Ride. Was
Um,
was there plans for that one as well?
you know what? If we had went with Smoking Cigarettes, Taxi would have, what we call it, Cab Ride. I can't call it Taxi.
Yeah.
Couldn't. I wanted that record was very special to me. You know what I mean? I really wanted to do a video for all of the songs album. I thought that album could have went so much further than it did, but they stopped at Call Me, you know? And I was just honored that Bob James, he never gave anybody clearance for that sample and he gave me clearance. And I was just honored and
Wow.
yeah, yeah. As far
Love
as
that.
then, I was the only artist that he ever gave clearance for.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the I've I've actually seen a couple of your fans asking in the comments here about the song "Drunk."
Uh-huh.
If you could share the meaning behind that one.
Well, Drunk was a time in my life where I didn't know what I was doing. It was once I came home from the group had broke up and I came home to work and take care of my daughter, but I couldn't find a job. So I can remember taking my dad, big body Lincoln, and riding out to the beach and finding change. Back then, you can pull out the seats in the car and you could have the loose change, and I would buy a 40 ounce. And that song was really seriously about not having any money, but finding enough money to get drunk, and that's all I could do. You know what I mean? to
Wow.
maintain, because it was heavy. You know, coming home and not being able to support my daughter, or feeling like I was a failure. That's what that meant. Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's deep. That's heavy right there.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about your career, I think one of the most special parts is you've had so many amazing collaborations and added to so many people's singles and even album cuts. Like, you've got some amazing tracks. For you, when you think about some of the collaborations you've done, what comes to mind as your favorite ones?
Oh my God, Bilal, Best Friend is even the song we did on Chris Dave's record and the Drumheads, Spread Her Wings, is dope. Wow. Missy, of course, everything we do together is absolutely amazing. But my favorite would be Bilal, Best Friend. Because
that's dope.
Yeah, that story, you know, because I remember being in New York and getting his CD. Well, it was like a EP or whatever. And I rode around New York just listening to his stuff, and I was like, I have to work with him. So I told Jay Brown, who was my A&R at the time, we got to get him on this record. And I remember being in Babyface studio and recording it. And Jay Brown was like, he's coming through. I was like, okay, I'm excited. But when he got there, he didn't know that he was going to be on the record. He was just coming to chill, as far as he knew. He was just coming to check out this person. And then we played the first verse, and he was like, oh my God, yes, I'm on it. And he didn't even go into, I tell this story all the time, he didn't even go into the booth to record his part. They plugged up a mic right on the board, and he sung right at the board and just killed it with a bottle of whatever he was drinking, and just killed it. It was like, I love Bilal. That's my brother.
That's amazing. He's an amazing artist too.
Oh, amazing. Is amazing. Mm-hmm.
I got to mention the duet you had with PJ Morton. Now that was an episode too. Yeah,
PJ. Yeah,
remember that one?
Mm-hmm. That was amazing too. PJ's incredible as well. Yeah, I love it. Mm-hmm.
In addition to even like duets and collaborations like that, you know, I know you've had a chance to put background vocals on a lot of songs too that maybe people didn't even realize. Like, I was just reading about Monica's So Gone, and I didn't even realize that was you on the background vocals.
Yeah, that's me, and I wrote the chorus for that, and I did the reference for the whole record. Yeah, and that chorus is actually a Sugah song. And I
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, and you know, another amazing background, you know, Missy put me on Madonna's American Me one time, and then I'm on with that duet with her and Ain't Nothing Out There for Me with her and Beyonce. I'm on some of the backgrounds and stuff. So she used to put me on everything. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Takeaway with Genuine and Missy is another one, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then I always notice you on the Aaliyah song, Where Could He Be?
Yeah.
I mean, that was another one I remember.
Yeah. I love that record. I don't know why they never put it out. I love it. You
know what? We actually recently talked to Magoo. I don't know if you've spoken to him in a while, but he's kind of out of the industry a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the song you have with Timbaland and Magoo, All Y'all. That song is so crazy.
That was the first time anybody ever heard from me. Tim put me.
Really?
And that was the first time you heard my voice and the first time you saw me, the video. So that was when you saw Tweak for the first time.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, as we wrap up this interview, I want to take it back to the Charlene album, because when I think about that album, like, I look at that was a great comeback for you. It had been a long time between albums, and that was an amazing album, highly acclaimed. And then you started doing a lot more shows, being more visible. And I love that, because we missed Tweak. So what do you remember about being in that moment?
That moment for me was a feeling of freedom. I would finally be able to kind of express who I was as Charlene and not Tweet. And when I say that, Charlene is the little girl that grew up in church and was influenced by quartet. And I was just free. Phil Thornton just allowed me to just do whatever I wanted to do. And that's what I need to get out for people, because I felt like music at the time was just going somewhere else. And I just wanted to bring it back to Charlene and to the basics, you know what I mean? And that's what I feel every time I listen to that record. We were so free to do what we wanted to do. And I'm glad people accepted it and received it. Yeah.
Right.
I love
Amazing record.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
record. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I saw this one more question I wanted to take. Someone asked you about the song Expired and who wrote that. That was the Sugah song, I believe.
Oh my God, yeah. It's Daryl, I can't remember his name. He did the record. Daryl, what is his name? Rolly, there's somebody on here, y'all say his last name. His name is Daryl, and he was a producer with DeVante.
Pearson. Daryl Pearson.
Yep, Daryl Pearson.
Yeah.
Yep, and he wrote and produced it. And that was one of my favorite records too.
I've heard that one too. I've only heard a snippet of that one actually, but it sounded really good.
Thank you. Yeah, we love that record. It won't be on the EP though. We're gonna do that one. We do love. Yeah.
Would Sugar and Spice be on there?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Record that Missy produced, and I think Missy wrote and Tim produced.
Right.
And that's we want to do the stuff that we did after everybody left. That's when we really got to record Sugah with DeVante, because he was being pulled up so many places that we, really never had a chance when everybody was around to really focus on Sugah. But once everybody left, we were like the last group left, and then other ones came, and he focused on us. And those are the records that we want to do. The records that mean, most to us are those records.
Around what year was that when he was working with you guys?
It was it was for a good 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? After everybody we were recording that record, those same songs, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 times. We get signed to a label, and then he'll pull us off it, and then we get signed to another label, pull it off. As one time we were signed to Def Jam. And
wow.
He wanted to go with the label. And that's when Player had signed with Def Jam. We were also signed too. And he wanted us, this is funny to us, he wanted us to tell them that we had broke up, but we were still staying in New York with him, recording and doing whatever. So they thought we had broke up. So Lior, surprisingly, just on a whim, dropped by the house, the apartment, and he came in the house, and we hid in the bathroom, in the bathtub, and put the shower curtain, and he came and found us, and the gig was up. We weren't broken up, but we eventually we got stories.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Because he wanted us to stay on, with him and get the best label and stay with him or whatever, and he didn't want us to be on Def Jam, so that's one of our stories we'll tell.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Hid in the back.
What's crazy? Like I'm a New Yorker. I'm in New York City, and when us New Yorkers think of Rochester, I've been to Rochester once. I actually seen where the Basement was, the building and all that's still there. But I can't imagine that so much talent was in some far town all the way up there in New York near Canada. Can you even imagine? You're from Rochester, so do you imagine all this talent came there?
Listen, I didn't even know Jodeci was there until somebody said something. I think they did a fashion show they had to perform, and some of my friends was like, let's go. And I didn't know, but Rochester, period, has a lot of talented people. What's up, Rochester? All my rock people. There is talent up there that's just incredible. But no, I didn't realize it. But when like I said, once I did the interview and I saw all of this talent and just every day, all day, just going on, because it was just inspiring, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Right. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you so much for sharing all this history with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And then last thing, and new music as far as the EP or any your solo music, can we expect anything soon? Or?
Well, I'm waiting to hear back, but we'll see. I know for a fact that DeVante has the music because he hadn't had all of our songs. So he has the music to redo now. So he's working on that, and we're gonna make it happen. But a new single off the new album, I'm just waiting to hear what's going on with all of the confusion. But
Awesome.
but it's music coming.
Awesome. Really
Yeah.
looking forward to the tweet. Thank you so much. Always happy to support you.
No problem. Thank you for supporting me. Bye.
Absolutely. Talk soon. Take
All right.
care.
Bye.